All right, everybody, we are back with another episode of the Nemhaus podcast. I am Brian Nemhauser.
I'm Rachel Nemhauser.
Did you forget after this long
I
time?
stumbled over my words.
It is a hard name to remember. For people that are just joining for whatever reason at this episode, just to catch people up, this season of the Nemhaus pod is basically Rachel and I using these conversations as a way to help us figure out what needs to happen to transition Nate, our son, who's 21, from being in a transition program and part of the school system to being officially out of that and living life, without that structure. That's kind of what we're doing here. And I think it's a good literal example of how challenging this is, in that you have had a massively hectic and stressful last few months of work.
Yeah, that's true.
I have been in the heat of football season, has me super busy. And we've talked about having this conversation
few months,
8 times, like months, literally, and have not been able to make it happen. It doesn't mean nothing's happened, but we haven't been able to really sit here and talk about, okay, it's now December and he's going to graduate in June.
Yeah.
It's getting real.
Oh, it is.
So
I'll also say, though, it's getting less scary as it gets closer for me.
Okay. Why?
Maybe I'm just like psychologically adjusting to the idea. Mm-hmm. And also we have had these conversations and we have, things are moving forward and plans are, blurrily coming into reality. So it feels a little less like a big black hole and a little bit more like something we can manage.
I think that's right. I actually feel similarly, but I still have the graduation scaries for sure. Like, it's not totally in a comfort zone, but there's some really, really big things that have happened between the last time we did this episode and now, at least in this regard, that we should catch people up on. The first is you gave me a homework assignment. Do you remember what my homework assignment was?
To contact the day programs.
Yes. So just to remind people, Nate had been going to a community center and going on Saturdays with one of his really good friends. And it ended up not being a great fit. We already knew it was not working out, but it was we could do a whole episode just on that experience. It was pretty frustrating and kind of hurtful in some ways. But we're not going to focus there. So we knew, well, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I don't want to focus there, but I do want to say, like, knowing that there's a limited amount of programs for adults with disabilities, it's noteworthy when one tells you this isn't a good fit for your kid. And that's one less option for him. So it's disappointing and upsetting that happened.
Yeah, I guess I feel obligated to add. I think we both talked about it and chose not to advocate more in this case because of, like, the experience did not lead us to feel confident that was going to be a positive outcome. So I don't want to leave the impression, just because I'm sensitive to this stuff, that Nate did something where it was clear that this wasn't a good fit.
No,
it was you and I deciding this is probably not the program for us to fight for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of the way I see it. And so you had already given me the homework assignment.
Yep.
And there was 2 other programs. Can I tell the names, or does it matter?
Yeah, I think it's probably fine. I mean, we're not promoting or condoning any place. We're just sharing our own experience.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to talk about them without saying what they are. So Bridge of Promise is one of them. And his friend that he goes to had been going to the community center with also at least spent some time at this place, and some other kids that he knows or adults that he knows. And the other one, do you remember the name of the other one? Aaron's Place.
Northwest Child.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did my homework, like, the next day, reached out, and there's a lot of follow-up. I'll save all those, cut to the chase. Nate and I went on a visit to Bridge of Promise after I'd had the conversation with the people there. And it was really cool. Like, it was a really cool thing. They had like a drop-in program and a community program. And again, I'm not going to go super deep into it, but I'll say, like, summarize it as, it felt like, and the way we're kind of characterizing it to Nate is, we found a place that you can go to school after this school's over.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it sounds like there were kids there that he recognized. Mm-hmm. They've also been, I think someone from that place had visited his school, so he was familiar with it. Yeah. And like, I've heard from some teachers at his school that he's been telling people he's going to go there. Like, he's kind of excited about it. So that's cool. Great news.
That's cool. Yeah. And the other place, Aaron's place, has been really, really great to work with. We haven't visited yet. We're going to probably check in the new year about that as well.
They came to his school to observe him, though, and said that they would be very comfortable having him attend their program.
Yeah. So it feels, both of them are like 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 ratio of caretakers to, or what is it called? Caregivers to student, or
and they are both like could be paid for through the services we get through from the state.
Partially,
at least.
And the hours are like school hours almost. Mm-hmm. And so I think the Bridge of Promise would be, I think, like the community program where they take them to go on trips and do stuff out. I want to say that's like 9 to 3.
Perfect.
And what we're thinking about, because Nate works on Monday, Wednesday, Friday currently, 2 hours each day, is that we could have him go to these, what would you call this?
A day program.
A day program. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'll probably keep forgetting that. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Mm-hmm. And so that would give him a 5-day quote work week and structure. And it started to feel like some things were sliding into place.
Yeah, right. And I thought I liked it because it gave him also social interaction.
Yeah.
And like there's a real social outlet to that I was worried about him, that I am worried about him losing from school. And I'm feeling a little optimistic that one or both of those day programs can fill that for him.
Yeah. And they're used to working with the Access bus transportation. Yep. So we'd be able to have him go and, get dropped off and get picked up. And I mean, just from a logistics, it seems like it works. The time works. It happens to be Tuesdays and Thursdays are quieter days for them. So there's a better chance. Right now they're full on those days, but we're looking to get, I think the plan is there's a Thursday we're hoping to get an open space, but he can start doing drop-in. We'll start figuring out come like next month. He'll be able to start going there maybe once a week
in place of school
and start overlapping these experiences. And then we can kind of ramp it up a little bit so that by the time we get to June, it's as normal as going to school to him, or at least like he's acclimated to it.
Right.
So that was what you had talked about. Like, I'm completely following the Rachel plan here. I'm just the busybody. Which I'm happy to be, but that was a pretty big one.
Yeah, I think that's great. And then I had another idea. So if he's going to a day program when school ends, let's say Tuesdays and Thursdays all day, he's working Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just 2:30 to 4:30.
Right.
So I had a thought that maybe we can lean on some of his caregiving hours the first half of the day on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to have someone here to get him up in the morning and help him get through his morning routine and get him off to work, because that for us is a hard thing to do in the middle of work days.
Well, I mean, eventually he's going to have that, like, that's going to have to happen, because there's the idea of him living independent.
Well, I know, but I thought we are going
to get to that, but I'm just saying, like, it connects. Like, it's fine now. I don't have it's not really that much of an issue for, well, I guess if he wasn't going to school, it would be more of an issue. Like this summer, it was an issue.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm anticipating when school's not there anymore, that he's not up at 6 a.m. He wakes up more like 8, 9, 10 in the morning while that's like the middle of a work day. And then we have to stop and
get him ready,
get him through his morning routine and then a few hours later, get him through his lunchtime routine and then get him on the bus for Access. That's all hard to do when you're in the middle of a work day.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So explain again, so that the hours you're talking about right now, we are.
So Nate is is allocated 30 hours a week of caregiving that the state pays for. Right now, we are doing that caregiving ourselves, and we're getting paid by the state to do that. But I was thinking that when school ends, one thing we could do on those Monday, Wednesday, Fridays is use those 30 hours a week. Let's say, I don't know, 8 hours, 3, on those Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that could really help. Yeah. Or it doesn't have to be the whole 8:30, but it could be even just, 15 of them or something.
That makes sense. A little small note, and maybe most people won't care, but I'll just share. Like, some people might hear that and be like, oh, they're like taking advantage of the government. Maybe they don't think that. Like my alarm bells go off a little bit when I hear that stuff. Like, we would so gladly have a caretaker that was working well with him and not be getting any of those hours ourselves. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, so far, it's been an us job.
It's really difficult to find a caregiver when they're in school most of the time, because then you only need a caregiver for like a few hours here and there. And caregivers don't want 2-hour shifts. They want like a 6-hour shift. So I think it would be easier to find when he's out of school.
So you're thinking that these would be 3 6-hour shifts?
I hadn't really thought about it, but let's say someone who gets here at 7 a.m, and is here until 2 when he gets on the bus to go to work. So what is that? Is that 7 hours? Yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that.
Okay. So is there like, my mind is always like trying to make these things all match up, so we're building towards something. Mm-hmm. Is there do we need that in place by a certain time?
No, but actually it wouldn't hurt for me to notify the caregiving agency that we would be looking for that. I can take care of that.
Okay.
That's a good thing for my to-do list.
All right. How are we going to track our to-do list?
I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it down. Okay. I don't have the memory.
I was going to say, I don't want to have to be the person that remembers all this stuff too. So the other part of this is, no matter how good the Bridge of Promise stuff or Aaron's Place or whatever we end up doing is, and how optimistic we are, it is a pretty meaningful change for Nate to kind of adjust to that. And there could be some turbulence. So figuring out how many changes we can layer at one time versus do we need to be more linear? Like, oh, we're going to get him starting in this new routine. And then a month after that, then we'll start getting, like, I don't know if we need to kind of meter these things out. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think we have to some degree. He spent the last year getting used to working and getting shifts. Now we're going to start adding 1 day of the day program, maybe 2. And then school will sort of be pulled out and maybe a caregiver would be added in.
Yeah.
So it does seem like we're metering it out. We're not just hitting him all with all new things.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the caregiving thing. Like, how soon would we want to wait for a month after Aaron's Place started or Bridge of Promise?
Yeah, it's not going to happen that fast.
Yeah, okay.
So I would. I mean, like I said, it's really difficult to find a caregiver for short periods. We're probably not going to be able to get anyone to start until he's actually done with school.
Okay.
In June.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't that just registered. Really? Okay. So then there's 2 other things that are, well, one's big and then let's just catch people up. The other one we haven't really done much, but we should let people know about is housing. Mm-hmm. So we invested a long time ago in a rental property. We're fortunate to be able to do so. And the idea was always that it might be able to be a place that could be a future group living situation for Nate and others. Mm-hmm. And the people that have been living there moved, and we had kind of a decision to make. And so we've kind of moved up the timeline there on that. That's one part of it. But then there's another part of it that has also kind of moved up the timeline.
Yeah, so we've always anticipated that Nate would move out eventually, maybe a year or two after he finished school. A few years ago, in kind of planning for that, we applied for and ultimately received something called the CORE waiver through DDCS, formerly DDA, Washington State's Developmental Disabilities Community Services, something like that. We were given a CORE waiver and told we can hold on to it and Nate can use it to move out and get the care he needs when he's ready. It's been a few years and now the state is saying you kind of have to start using it or you're going to lose it. We're going to take it back and you could apply later. And they are telling us, you'll probably have no problem getting it later, but knowing how many changes are coming with Medicaid and some major anticipated budget deficits, I don't trust that this opportunity will be there in a few years. So we're really feeling like we need to make this happen this summer, or we're going to lose the opportunity. We need to make Nate moving out happen this summer.
Okay, so this is part that I have not been fully caught up on. I've talked about it in passing, and I kind of understood that we had to use it or lose it.
Mm-hmm.
You also expect that this is going to take a little while. So so the process is they will now start looking for what?
Here's what the process is. They're going to put together what they call a packet. I like to call it a dossier. They're going to,
of course you like to call it that.
They're going to put together a packet. We're going to help them. That's basically going to describe everything about Nate and his care needs. And it's going to also say, we already have the house. We know where we want him to live. We're looking for an agency that is going to manage his care through what's called in Washington a supported living arrangement. So DDCS is going to, with our help, create this dossier and start sending it to supported living agencies in the area. And the supported living agencies will look at it and decide if they feel like they could meet Nate's needs and that they could serve him in the home that we already have for him. And that's like, and then I'm guessing the agencies would say, yes, we're interested. And we would start meeting with the agency that's first, or maybe we'd have multiple to choose from. I don't really know exactly what would happen next, but I would guess we'd be interviewing an agency and getting to know them and discussing whether they felt that they could meet his needs and they would meet him, they would meet us, they'd see the house. We'd maybe have to make modifications to the house. They'd have to work on hiring the staffing for it. We'd have to get the furniture and redecorate the place or make it a home for him.
Right.
So every step I just listed takes.
But what if all that stuff takes, like getting the house ready and all that stuff, what if that takes longer than, like, what if that part takes longer? Do we lose it, or? I'm not really clear.
And I think it would probably depend on how much longer. Like I said, we don't want him to go anywhere until at least after school ends. He doesn't graduate till the end of June. So they're like, well, if you want to do it this summer, then you have to start now. So I don't know what would happen if they get to the summer and we're not quite ready yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sort of like, I've helped other families go through this through my work, but it's different when you're going through it. And also, usually when I'm helping people, they're in a rush. And we're in the opposite, where we're sort of wanting it. We're wanting to stretch it out a little bit. So, which is fine. And, I think this is an okay decision. The home where he's going to live is so close to us, and a place where I'm hoping he'll get really comfortable and where he could be still spending quite a bit of time in our house if he wants, but he'd have a care team around him and we would be his parents and not his caregivers. And I love that idea. I'm like getting more and more enticed by that idea.
I mean, the idea is amazing. The reality, I'm assuming is not going to be that. I'm assuming it's going to be really not great. And if it turns out to be better than my worst expectations, then so be it, because that's just the way I set myself up to not be too excited. But the reason this is all super helpful to hear and just understand is the place that we were renting is like essentially a single family home, and it's got multiple levels, and I don't know that the floor that he and potentially other friends would live on might need construction. Like it might need to be adjusted for this to be feasible. And we have not started that process yet. That could easily take more than 6 months.
Yeah. So I think that's your homework next.
Yeah, I know.
Getting a contractor in to we don't need the best. It doesn't need to be, top of the line, next level stylish. It just needs to be functional and safe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I can get on that. Still may not be something that happens in 6 months. Like it's still, I would say, very plausible that it wouldn't be ready in 6 months. And we'd have to either just deal with what's already there, which isn't terrible, but it's not great.
Yeah.
The other thing, I guess I'll say this: we won't name which family member. We also have a family member that is going to be living in that house. That's they're going to be acting like property manager of the place, and that's good. And that'll help, have some additional oversight about what's going on. But is also just additional stuff we've got to get figured out.
Yeah.
And, like there's just a lot. Like,
and if we're struggling to find an hour to have this,
I know. That's my point. That's my point. Like vetting contractors. Come on. I mean, that's not a small job. And just so happens, thankfully, the Seahawks look like they're very good and might be playing all the way into February.
Yeah, I'll tell DDA it's not our fault. The Seahawks are so good. I'm sure they'll be fine with it.
Oh my God, Rachel. Yeah, I mean, we can only do what we can do.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
I think that's been our motto. Like,
yeah,
we happen to be able to do a lot, but I mean, it wasn't like I was sitting there with my feet up all week or you were sitting there twiddling your thumbs. No. It's been crazy.
It has.
Okay, so the other part of this, this is going to sound silly in the scope of all these other very momentous things, is Nate's expecting to have, like, we've been promising and talking about a trip after he graduates,
as like a graduation celebration, and maybe a way to like distract him and all of us from school being over.
And we're talking about taking like a multiple week trip,
right? That we're supposed to plan.
So stupid. Do you realize how dumb that sounds?
No, I disagree. It sounds needed.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that characterization. But if someone were to come in and be like, okay, let's look at all the things that have to happen and overlay them on a calendar and prioritize which ones like have to happen and which ones don't, and which are like they would look at that and be like, come on, you could do that. You could do that in December just fine.
Can I describe what the trip, what we're
dealing
with? We first thought that we would go to Disneyland because Nate's been wanting to go to Disneyland. We haven't been since he was a little kid. But then he was watching YouTube and caught wind of the fact that there is a Stranger Things house that's an Airbnb in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was somehow able to communicate this to us, which is huge and really exciting, that there was an Airbnb that was the Stranger Things house, and he does not want to fly there. He wants us to rent an RV and drive to Atlanta to go to this Stranger Things Airbnb. So we're trying to figure out how to maybe rein in the trip a little bit. But meanwhile, he is telling us he's so excited that he's going to faint. That's what he keeps telling me. How do you say no to a kid who's saying he's so excited he's going to faint?
I cannot wait to be in Georgia in the summer. That sounds just terrific.
As a person who was in Georgia last summer, I can tell you it was not terrific.
I was in Georgia last week. Yeah. So, I mean, that's normally I'm like, fine, like whatever. That sounds like a lot to figure out. And just planning that trip is significant, and figuring out like that of all these things that's stressful to me,
Okay.
to kind of have that hanging over us. Also just the expense of it, which we'll figure that out. But we're talking about like, we're going to be taking on an extra expense with this day program, even though some of it will be covered. It's not all covered. A significant portion will not be covered, especially once he goes to multiple days per week. We're going to be losing some income from the caregivers that we're talking about, which is fine, but it is.
We're also going to be losing the income of his monthly rent that he pays.
Why?
Because when he moves out, he's not paying us rent anymore.
Why not? That's our house.
No, that's true. I forgot we're the owners of that house too.
Like, you scared me. So I was like, that's part of the plan.
Okay, no.
And anyone else that lives there is paying rent as well.
Yeah.
Yes. God. But and then we're talking about doing renovations on this place, and that's cash out. So it's just it's a lot, and it's a lot of logistics. And wait, we're going to pause for a second because Nate has a question. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Lunch made for Nate. And we can now get back to what we were talking about. So I think we were just talking about that there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of expense, and how do we prioritize and what's most important, at least where my mind was going. Because whenever there's that many things, I need to start getting it down to, okay, what has to happen versus what would be nice to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the vacation obviously doesn't have to happen and doesn't have to happen then. By
the way, I'm not trying to push that. I was literally just thinking out loud. And one of the roles you play for us is you're like, no, that does have to happen. That's more important than this other stuff. And if it isn't, like, I'm here to hear it. I
think the thing that is the least movable is the moving out. Because that's the thing that we can lose if we don't do it.
Okay.
The vacation we could do another time. The day programs, it would be better to do it now, but we can figure that out another time. I think getting going on the contractor and getting that space ready for him is going to be really important.
I think that's right. I don't think that the day program, well, I'll put it this way. I think it's a very close second, because if we don't do it before school, I think it could end up not happening.
No, I think
fights
you're right.
it. So I feel like we have to get that going to where it's part of the
It's also routine. That should not take too much more of our time.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay.
So sometimes it's helpful to get some things done, or at least and
get a couple easy things off the list.
That one seems the most attainable. And if we can get, even if they don't have the permanent, we can get them on the drop-in program starting in January, and we could figure out what his access schedule would be. So maybe that's, I've got two to-dos. One is, I think I can try to take that on.
Like getting us over the finish line with that?
Getting us over at least the first finish line for that. And then I'll reach out to some contractors and start figuring that out.
Okay.
Because, and honestly, maybe even today, you and I should just go over there and have a conversation about what we think needs to happen, so that we don't have to have a separate.
Fine idea. That's a good idea.
That wouldn't take too long.
No.
Okay.
It shouldn't cause a big fight.
And honestly, I want to get the contractor stuff done anyway. Ha ha ha. I don't think it'll cause a big fight. I really don't.
Yeah, I want to get that done.
Okay. All right. Ooh. And then you're going to handle the caregiver stuff and the core waivers.
I'm dealing with the DDA, DDCS thing. The caregiver, I will tell you, if he's moving out in the summer, it's not really as relevant, because remember I was saying it wouldn't really start until the summer anyway. So we could put that could definitely be something on the back burner.
It's going to take 6 months anyway, and he's going to be out of the house. Why wouldn't it be the core waiver is going to bring its own caregiving. I see.
Yeah.
So let me think about that. So So are you saying that the caregiver stuff would end up not being necessary?
Yeah,
once he's over
that
there?
would only be relevant when he's living here.
Oh, that seems like an obvious one to forget
Yeah,
about then.
we can just drop that.
Got it. Thank you. I did not connect those dots.
That was more of an idea that I was having when I thought he was going to live here for another year or two.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's one less thing for you.
Mhm.
And maybe some more time to think about that.
Yeah, and I can help with the other two things. Like I can take the day program, take it from here.
Well, the other part of this was the plan had been that the bottom level, it's like a split level place, that the bottom level would be a Airbnb, that we try to do that. At this point, that was going to be for a few years or something until we were ready. But now it seems like we're not even going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just about getting it ready for him.
Yeah.
That also has some income implications that I hadn't been factoring in, because we were planning on having Airbnb income. And we're going from having, rental income for that to not nothing, but meaningfully less rental income than we were before. We'll have to then, I'm just filling you in on this, just from a tax perspective. We're not going to be fully occupied, right? Because there's going to be a room that's going to be vacant that will eventually be renting out to another person, another person on disability.
Yeah.
And I've got to figure that out, like from a tax purpose. Like you're supposed to like be actively trying to rent it, or else it won't qualify as a rental.
Oh, okay.
And so if we don't have the primary person we want to move in there is not going to be ready to move in there for at least another year. So now I've got to figure out what that means.
Okay.
For us.
Okay.
I mean, I don't need to figure that out right away, but I hadn't realized that till we just had this conversation, which kind of sucks. But at least I know it. What else? Not like we were lacking in things. So then, I mean, maybe is it okay if for the vacation thing, if we just pause the conversation about that for a little while until we get a little bit further on these other things? We've been talking about trying to get him excited about going to California instead, because it's just an easier trip. I'm fine with us still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. You and I talked about ways that we could make the stay on the West Coast and
more appealing
and make it a Stranger Things themed trip anyway, without having to go to Atlanta to go to this random Airbnb.
I need to out Rachel on something. So we literally, I was complaining about this Atlanta thing. I was like, well, I mean, all the people from Stranger Things, they live down in California. Can't we like take him on a tour and they could see their actual houses where they actually live? And she was like, no, like just totally dismissed it, like barely even looked up from her phone. And then what happened, like literally like yesterday?
I had this really good idea that we should take Nate on a tour of the Stranger Things actors' home.
Good thing I love you so much.
I thought it was a good idea.
It's a good idea. Sometimes the best idea is just take a little while to kind of germinate and grow. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. I feel like that's a good. I think we've organized the chaos a little bit. And are there anything else that I'm not thinking of that we need to be thinking of for him to be ready for? Like
the one thing we didn't talk about is getting Nate like emotionally ready for moving.
Yes.
And I think that maybe that's next week's topic, because I think that's going to take some intentionality and some planning, and it'll be much easier to have that plan once we maybe have an agency locked in and more of a timeline in play. But
a big part of that I had not anticipated was him moving in before any of his friends were going to move in. That has not been part of the picture we've painted.
No, it hasn't.
And so we should both just sit with that a little bit. We've got plenty of ideas of how to make that place really appealing and that he'll like, and we'll talk about our plan more stuff there. But that's the new wrinkle.
Yeah,
that is a tough one to overcome.
He's going to take the cat with him, and I think that might
take the dog with him. Take them all.
Brian's always trying to get rid of the dog.
Oh, the dog's first one to go. Okay. All right. I'm both more stressed than I was before this conversation, and a little bit, I would say, more purposeful. Like I have an idea of where to aim that stress.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's important.
Okay. Do you, where are you? Where are you at on all this?
I think I'm at a place of just acceptance, just moving through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's always the comfort in these situations, is that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. We're going to do our best to get things set up, but time does not stop for us.
No. And it's hard to move fast. Like work just takes over and the weeks go by and it's hard to get a lot done.
Yeah. We both work a lot. Anyway, we're trying to make ourselves feel better. Okay. Were you going to say something?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. All right, everybody. That'll do it for this episode of the Nemhaus Pod. I am Brian Nemhauser.
I'm Rachel Nemhauser.
Make sure you go to patreon.com/Nemhaus. We've got all our episodes up there. They're all free. There's a paid membership if you want. All that means is that you're contributing to a little pot, a little kitty that we're going to end up donating to charity somewhere. And I think we're getting pretty close to where we're going to hit our threshold to do that, our first threshold to do that. I also set up a chat there. I think I did. I'm almost positive, for people, if you want to introduce yourselves to each other or want to be able to support one another, feel free. It's not going to be moderated or anything like that, so be nice to each other,
please.
But if you're someone who's kind of interested in these topics and wants to just let people know who you are and your story, feel free to share it up there. And it's for members only, so nice little private community. All right, that'll do it. Have a great rest of your day, week, month, however long it's going to take before we see you again. Take care.
Bye.